Attention, please.
Give me my heater.
You're now listening to Clear the Mechanism.
The Robby Row Show.
The Robby Row Show.
Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Robby Row here on the Robby Row Show. So we're going to go about this episode. What is it? Episode 87. Yeah, we're going to go about it a little bit differently. I've done this before, though, in the past, where I've been on someone else's podcast and then I've taken the audio and just thrown it on mine. And I want to do that today. The podcast that I was on is called Press Pass. A friend of mine, Kayla Anderson, is the host of this show, and I join, and we just it's really fun, like really laid back, but there's a lot of good stuff in there. I get to talk about the MLB All-Star Game and how they market it and how they did just such a good job with the All-Star Game and how they're getting better at marketing the MLB and the hot topic of is baseball a dying sport, right? Like how, are we in a day and age where just like nobody cares about baseball, the ratings are down, and I talk about that. I talk about the home run increase, and I think some other goofy topics, but no, it's cool. It's like we go on for about 22 minutes or something like that. But just to give you guys a different side of me, I guess I always kind of like doing this because it's more so when I go on other people's podcasts that I talk about subjects that I don't necessarily talk about all the time on my podcast. So it just gives you a good opportunity to hear about that, and even check out Press Pass Podcast. They're doing a good job over there. It's Kayla and Gabriella. I think that's all I got. But no, it should be fun. Show notes should be over at therobbyrowshow.com/087 if you want to check out their links. I'll include their links, the two hosts of Press Pass. I'll include that podcast over there if you like the setup and you're a podcast listener. Give you the option to go head over there and check it out. And you can also find in the show notes of this episode and pretty much all of my episodes, you can find all of the baseball companies that I've partnered with that provide discounts on baseball training tools, from Pocket Radar, Velo Pro Harness, Jaeger Bands, Oat Specialties, Tap Sports. All of that can be found in the show notes, therobbyrowshow.com/087. And as always, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, website, podcast. Where can't you find me? I think we joke about it in today's episode. I think I say the only place you can't find me is MySpace. Or maybe that's the first place you can find me. I'm not sure. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this episode. It was fun. All right, let's get to it.
Well, joining us now for the first assist, he spent 9 seasons, counting, I should say, in professional baseball, and is host of the very popular podcast, The Robby Row Show. Welcome in, my friend, Robby Row, and how are you?
Dude, I'm so good. You're so good at that. Holy smokes. That was amazing. Like, you just sound like I want to listen to you. See, I need to capture that. I don't know what it is, but like I need to take notes. I'm actually going to pull out a notepad right now and take notes from you. So, hey, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be on here. And yeah, let's do this thing.
Okay, so just so people know, they're like, how the heck do you know this guy? Well, I covered Robby back in Missoula, Montana, which is one of the coolest cities in America. And he was playing rookie ball for the Diamondbacks. And he said he was a Zags fan. And I about fell off my chair. Because I'm from Spokane. And I'm like, why are you a Zags fan?
Well, let's rewind that. And I thought you were going to tell the story of how we met, me being a country music singer in Nashville and you discovering me. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, Zags fan because my boy Adam Morrison. Dude,
yes.
So, I mean, I was a basketball player growing up. And it's so funny when I tell people that because, like, they think I'm like the Woody Harrelson character from White Man Can't Jump, like the guy that's like designed specifically for like getting hustled on at the park. But no, I was like a basketball player growing up. Like I was looking at places to play and fell in love with the Zags when I like followed that. Was that I want to say 07-08 season with like Pendergraph and all those guys. And I just started watching like almost all of their games. I was like, dude, this is great. Mark Few, like one of the greatest coaches ever. Yep. Throw it back even more. Dan Dickow. I remember watching him. Yeah. What a stud. Cool. Yeah. And I was just like, you know what? I love the culture that they created. Like, I just love the way they played. And then like as a ball player myself, basketball that is, I was like, started thinking about potential schools that I wanted to go play at. And Gonzaga was like one of the first ones that I obviously was like a dream to play. Yeah. And then like quickly learned that I had family in Spokane. My mom's actually making a trip in like September. She just told me yesterday, just like how gorgeous it is up there and just like everything about it. Yeah. Became a Zags fan and like followed them and was just like, dude, so this is a funny story. I've never been more heartbroken, I think, in my entire life. And I've gone through some crap than I was when UCLA made that comeback in the Sweet 16. Adam Morrison's
I don't
year.
Want to talk.
I'm not like I was. I remember where I was. Like I had all my Zags gear on. I was at my girlfriend's house, my first ever girlfriend's house, and like literally in 8th grade. And I'm trying to like impress the parents or whatnot. And like I'm all happy because they're up big. Like they were playing really well. And they make that comeback and screaming Gus Johnson, all these memes come. And like I'm like so butthurt, dude. I like remember going to school the next day. And no idea why I'm still talking, but yeah, big Zags fan for sure. Yeah, their program, like now they're nationally known. I mean,
that's like a legit program.
No, it really is. And like strength of schedule, that was like always their thing. And now like Mark Few's like designing their schedule preseason, and I think they're on the up and up for sure.
Yeah, well, and people maybe should learn how to say Spokane and Gonzaga, but anyways, that's besides the point. So speaking of, so we know Robby's a basketball player, obviously from that story. And then he was selected 88th overall in the MLB draft. You come from a baseball family. And then you've started this phenomenal podcast. Tell the people out there what this is about. And it's really like educating people about the game, right?
You're so kind. Oh man. I love when people say like I'm doing a good work. That's so cool. No, but yeah, first of all, thank you for the kind words. Second of all, so it's a funny story, right? So obviously I love to talk. And my original description of my podcast was like, it was kind of like funny. It was, what was it? It was, I used to get kicked out a lot in high school for talking too much. Like this is my outlet. And honestly, like the foundation, was like, I really do love to talk and I love to network with other people and hear their story. And I remember I was in Puerto Rico playing winter ball, and literally every night it was like right when Instagram had that live feature, you can go on live and talk to people. And it was right around that time I started going Instagram live every night, and I would bring on like teammates on that Puerto Rico winter ball team. And mind you, this is the team that we won like the Caribbean series. So like we got some dudes, and I would bring them to the apartment. Like we'd get on Instagram live. I'd crush 4 pounds of steak and we'd just talk. And it became like, everyone was kind of like, dude, like you're actually pretty good at that. Like interview stuff. And I was like, yeah, I like to talk. And then so finally like the idea came about like having a podcast. So of course, like me being me and my personality of like wanting to do it all on my own, I was just like, start diving into it, right? Start just like, okay, how do I do it? Blah, blah, blah. And it's actually fairly pretty easy, how to go about that. But yeah, and then as it kind of progressed, it was like really the foundation for why I started and why I continue to want to do it is because, I had the ability growing up as a kid to have a father that played in the big leagues, right? And not everyone has that advantage, like growing up. Like these kids that love the game and want to, aspire to play it at the next level, maybe, potentially don't have the outlet to go to someone that can provide that information to better equip them for their journey. And we live in a day and age in 2019, man, where like access is so like it's at our fingertips. Like anything we want to know is like right there. So I was like, okay, like I have this sense of responsibility after, the culmination of so many years in professional baseball and playing with so many great individuals and having, tutelage under so many great instructors and whatnot. I was like, I have a sense of responsibility to give that back in some way, shape, or form. And I kind of just took to social media. Like I've always kind of been active on social media. I love to, interact with people. It started kind of with like shout out MySpace, Tom.
Oh,
Started
God.
with that. And it kind of progressed to Twitter and stuff, and then like Instagram, and then podcasting, and now my website and all of this stuff. And it's kind of just continuing to grow. But yeah, that's really like the foundation of it is just, a couple different things as far as me loving to talk, loving to network, loving to bring other people on and hear their story, and just provide as much, information as possible. Because at the end of the day, like, I don't know all the answers and I don't have all of the good insights, but I have the ability to reach out to somebody that is better equipped to explain a specific subject and like have them on the show and then dive into it. And then it's like, wow, like we just killed two birds with one stone. So I think that is so cool, so fascinating. And I do it for the kids that, really want that info and that content. So yeah, it's been a fun ride.
Well, Kayla and I have had an ongoing conversation about the decline in interest in Major League Baseball. So coming from a player and someone who grew up around the game, do you see it? And what are your thoughts on what MLB has to do better to keep these fans coming back for more or keep the interest level very high?
That is such a good question, right? Like that is like, there's so many different, as soon as you asked that, I was like, okay, which avenue am I going to start talking about? Because there's so many different ones that we can dive into as far as like, it's always kind of been known for that old man's game, right? Like where the older people will like, oh, hey, like, let's go get all their lawn chairs and go watch a game and eat peanuts. Like, that's like and we're trying to make it younger. And I honestly, like I used to be kind of, bitter towards MLB and the way they market it, because you look at the NBA and the NFL and they market it really, really well. But you know what? I watched that All-Star game this year, and they did such a good job.
Yes.
Yeah, we talked about this last week.
I'm really excited that you guys like saw that, because I think the individuals that know the game really pointed that out or noticed it, and then everyone else was kind of like, whatever. But that's the society we live in too, right? Like, like hand in hand, like everyone, is kind of just like everything's like the normal now. I thought the home run derby, my girl Marley Rivera, I met her in Mexico for the Caribbean Series. She's great, and like having her on the field and like translating that,
great.
That was amazing. And then just like the microphone on the field, like I thought they went about that so great. And then I kind of have this other opinion that may be unpopular, but like, if you're trying to target the people that, aren't fascinated with that kind of stuff about the game, then we don't want them as fans, to be quite honest with you. Like that's the blunt truth. Yeah. But, I think the game is I just think the game in its natural form is just so beautiful. Me being a kind of a baseball nerd and honestly just loving the game and the ins and outs of the game, right? Like I watch a game probably differently than, 90% of the 98% of the world, because there's so many like little things that you notice that are pure beauty. So I think going about it in a sense of how can we market the way that baseball players view the game? How can we like actually make the average person understand that it's not just like the game, like it's not just what you see, outside looking in. Like there's this thing that we call the game within the game. Like how can we best market that? And I think, like I said, alluded to earlier, the society we live in with all of this technology and all of this access, like kids are 8 years old on phones now. It's freaking crazy. So how can we start promoting that, right? And I think we're going to figure it out, and I think they're doing a really good job with marketing it, and it's going to be exciting moving forward. But as far as like the way they're trying to change the game to make it more exciting, I'm obviously a ball player, so I have the opinion of like the game is beautiful as it is, but I completely see like where they're coming from. I'm not bitter towards it, but I guess whatever it takes to still promote its pure beauty of it. But yeah, another ramble session from me. So
no, it's so fascinating that you said that, because I just wrote this huge article for one of my opinion pieces, and literally everything you said is pretty much what's in my article. But one of the things that you pointed out in there was taking time to sit back and enjoy the beauty of this game. Me being a baseball junkie and understanding this game, it's easy, I guess, for me to say like I can see like why this game is so awesome to me. But I also wrote in the article, like, what is it going to hurt to like get your kids involved in this game, early and make them understand, maybe sit down, sit back for a second, get off your phones, not have to like watch something that's always going on, like always quick action, and enjoy a game that you can actually sit down and digest the game. And really like that's what kids aren't doing. So I think it's easy for them to say like, we're not interested in baseball. But maybe if someone sits them down and says, hey, look, like maybe like let's go to a game and like actually sit and watch it, and not be on our phones or whatever. Because like you mentioned, it is such a beautiful game. And so I loved that point that you made. I'm not going to
it's like it's like a relationship thing too, though. Like, I mean, growing up for me, obviously like going to games and stuff, but as I got older and it was like that was the time that you cherished with the people that you went to the game with, because you had these in between play moments, where you can like discuss things, right? Like you go to a basketball game and it's like so fast paced, or a football game, maybe it's a little bit better, but it's constantly action, right? And you kind of get in that position where you don't want to like talk to anyone or you'll miss something. The baseball environment for me, has always been like wanting to, take grandpa to a game or take, mom to a game, because just sitting there and like soaking in the environment. Again, I like you, it's a total just baseball nerd type thing where even the environment of a baseball game brings about like something in you. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like the concession stands, just the people, the energy, you're outside, all of that brings about something beautiful. But yeah, like going to with somebody and like in between each pitch, like, explaining, hey, he just threw he just started him off with a breaking ball. Right. He didn't throw a first strike. So now he's got to establish that he potentially can't throw a first strike, but maybe later in the count, he can throw it in the dirt at will to make, strike. Like there's so many like things in it that when I was growing up, it was like kind of normal to take, the father take the son to the game and go about, explaining it and creating that relationship, creating that dynamic within the people that you were going to the game with. But no, you're 100% right. I want to read that article, by the way. Is there like a link you can put in the show notes?
It's up on WKRN.com and it's in the sports section. You could probably just Google Kayla Anderson and opinion and it will pop up. So yeah, you should read it and give me your thoughts.
Oh my goodness.
So I wanted to talk about a subject that I think you're going to find is hilarious. Well, not hilarious, but I know you're going to have opinion on it. So I know that home runs are at an all-time high this season. During this year's All-Star game, Justin Verlander made a comment, which, by the way, I have been talking about for the last 6 months, by the way, just about baseball in general. And then when we've really seen it, the home runs this year increase. I've had this conversation with Ella so many times, and he made a comment about MLB juicing the balls. So my question is, what do you think's going on? Because something is different.
Oh, yeah. Well, I do want to say Justin Verlander wins at life, right? So I can't disagree with the guy. So I'm not in the big leagues. I can't speak for what's going on up there.
Right.
I know from being in a couple big league camps that the balls actually are different. Just they're naturally different than any other baseball that you play with in minor leagues. And, I was in the fall league, winter ball, all of these baseballs, they're different. Apparently, I was talking to a buddy that was up there as well. And he was just saying how they're potentially a little bit lighter, but they're also they're strung tighter. Right.
Okay.
So it's just, I don't know if I can put this into a visual, but the way that the seams are, they're tighter seams,
sure,
which makes the ball actually feel lighter because it's tighter. I just rhymed.
Get it right. Get it right.
And then there's this dynamic, right? And this is the more, I think the real reason, the dynamic of the evolution of athletes in baseball, the evolution of identifying what gets you a job and B, money, gets you paid, right?
Yeah.
And that is throw hard and hit home runs, whatever that takes. And I think we've seen not even just in the game of baseball or sports in general, but we've seen in life and the constant evolution of human beings that, it's adapt or die. So we know now that okay, I got to adapt, I got to set certain protocols in my day to make sure that I'm giving myself the best possible, situation to succeed in this game, or actually even just get an opportunity in this game. And that's train your freaking tail off, because we need to be physically acclimated to hit home runs and throw hard, so it's kind of like you see the both sides of it.
Sure.
So I think, we can talk about the home runs going up. We can talk about, why pitchers are throwing harder. And I think it's just because it's one of those scenarios where it is adapt or die. Like it's like, hey, home runs pay, like it's no secret. Look at the history of the game. Like guys who hit home runs, they get paid. And now the secret is out that organizations really don't care if you strike out freaking 200 times a year. But if you get 50 taters, then you're fine. Same with kind of the pitching side of it as well, where the secret is out in organizations where like you can have a guy that's sitting 88 and has a 2 in dubs, but sits 88 or tops 88. And then you have a guy in extended spring training who, sits 97, but can't throw a strike and has a 9 ERA. Like that guy's going to get more opportunities than the other guy, even though the other guy obviously, outside looking in, succeeding at this game. And I think it's the same with hitting too, is like we get into this environment where teams are paying for runs, right? It's like that scene in Moneyball. Like that's a real thing. You pay for runs, and what drives in runs, right? Like home runs. So I think it's both. It could be both. Like I said, I can't really speak from personal experience about the baseballs. It could definitely be a thing. I don't think that's an accident, but to shed a little bit more light on, I think the whole evolution of adapt or die is, is more prevalent, I think, to me and people who listen. So great question. Hot topic though. Hot take for sure.
Hot topic.
Real hot. Yeah. Good thing I've had like 9 cups of coffee already, so I'm ready for this.
Well, Robby, if you look at the league as a whole this season, who's really standing out to you, and what teams are you impressed with, especially entering the second half of the season?
So did you see the stat on like the Nationals pitching staff? I just saw it. Like I literally glanced at it.
We didn't.
It was like 27 straight starts for Nationals pitchers without a loss, like the starter without a loss.
What?
I think. I don't quote me on that, but I literally saw, maybe it was 22. But if someone has a Google machine in front of them, they could look at it. Most impressive to me is Justin Verlander's ability to not age. And I think he's going to throw until he's 65 years old and still throw 95 plus. Like the dude is incredible. The dude is like unreal. And also Max Scherzer, like I hate to say this on air and I haven't said it in public yet, but I'm an honest man. I predicted him to kind of start his decline as of now, but he's impressive. I say that now and he's hurt, but whatever. I think from the hitting side, like what Yelich and Bellinger are doing is freaking great.
And
I think it's great for the game.
Big guys.
No, and that's why I say I think it's great for the game too, right? Like same thing in the NBA with the Steph Curry dynamic, where people can look at that and go, wow, like I kind of look like a Steph Curry. Right. I can do this. Right. And I think it's the same for the baseball side, where, you sometimes you look at pitchers and you're like, well, he's 6'12", like 312, and maybe I'm not going to be physically like that, so maybe I can't do it. But you look at like the hitting side, and for the home runs, it was always like the McGuires and Sosas, roided out, freaking huge forearm dudes that were hitting taters. And now it's like, you have these tall, skinny guys, or even like short Bregman guys, which Altuve, like this is great. But yeah, I think the game, it's so freaking cool. Like I could talk about this all day, like so many different dynamics. I think rookies now, the evolution of the game, like when my dad played, he always talks about how, organizations were so, I guess, like gun shy when it came to putting the young rookies up in the big leagues. Now it's like, oh, hey, you're 19 years old, go up there and compete. And they're freaking going up there and they're freaking doing it. Look at like guys like Soroka, who's up there, he's in the Cy Young winning, and he's like, I don't know how old. I was just watching a guy from the Padres, 20-year-old dude from the Padres, Andres, I forget his last name, but he's throwing 102. He's 20 years old and just shoving it, and has this like mentality on him, like, yo, you can't freaking hit me. And where it was like the game was like back at, 10 years ago, even when I first got drafted, the game was like you had all these veterans who, like laid down the law basically on these rookie guys and was like, hey, don't show up the game. And now, we got to make the game exciting and all this stuff. And the other cool dynamic, and I hate to bag on other people, but like what's so cool about the game is you have guys like Harper and Machado who are getting paid like so well, and they're not talked about now because like the game is the game. And even though you've established you being an elite player, like you can still have bad years.
Yes.
Whereas like basketball and football, like you're kind of going to be established as a guy that can drop, 25 a game, and that's always going to be there. You're not going to really go away from that or, whatever in football. But baseball, like you can still be an elite guy, but have that down year, have that slump. And go through those trials and tribulations of a season. And you can also be the guy that's making league minimum, but has a great year. I was watching the closer for the A's, Liam Hendricks, like he's kind of been a career, like 4 ERA guy. And all of a sudden, boom, like something clicks this year. He's an all-star. He's got a sub-2. Like that is so freaking cool how, things happen like that. Guys make those like little adjustments and all of a sudden they have a all-star year. They go from literally like no one knowing the name of the person. Now you're an all-star and you're on the biggest stage. Like that is so freaking cool. And I think that goes back to the first question, right? Like if we market that and we market that uniqueness of the sport and its ability to have that kind of like thing, like I think we can gain a lot more of the attention of like those kids, that aspire to be athletes when they grow up.
Well, Robby, we have loved having you on for our assist today. You seriously brought a whole nother type of, I guess, insight to everything because being a player and everything, I think you look at things a little bit different. I think people can learn from. So we appreciate you going on. And I want you to tell all the people out there that listen, where can they go to follow you on social? And then, of course, I think you have your own website, too, for the Robby Row Show.
Yeah, a better question is where you can't follow me. I am not on TikTok.
Oh, my God.
You cannot follow me on TikTok. I'm everywhere, dude. It's like it's bad. It's bad. I'm everywhere. I like to have a voice. Instagram's my most probably active. Robby Row 12, Robby with a Y. Holler at your boy. Twitter, Robby Row _12. YouTube is I think just Robby Roland. Website is the Robby Row Show.com. Again, Robby with a Y. MySpace is just my name.
God.
Where
there is no MySpace anymore, Robby.
There's not? No. I'm trying to bring it back. Is it not happening?
No, I looked the other day if I could find my old account.
Well, they're doing it like it's a music thing now, no? Like that's where we're going to go on to establish our country music stardom.
Oh. That's what we got to do.
No? I thought the music thing brought it out. Is it not even a thing anymore?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Robby's living in like 1990.
I was too young for MySpace.
Yeah. Okay. Don't point out how we're older than you.
I know that just happened. I gotta go do some push-ups now.
Let's not have that conversation.
Holy smokes, that just happened. That's real.
Oh my God. Well, no, Robby, though, we really appreciate you coming on.
No, that's great.
I encourage you, if you're baseball fans or just a fan of somebody who's entertaining and want to watch someone who's entertaining, go follow Robby.
Oh my gosh, we watched your Instagram live yesterday and we couldn't breathe. We were laughing so hard the whole time.
Yeah.
I love how you watched the one where I have my cheat meal and I'm just crushing like 9 Domino's pizzas.
that was what was so fun about it. Thanks again, buddy, for coming on, and we look forward to following you and the success of your own career here in podcasting.
Yeah, absolutely. No, hey, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. That was fantastic.
Thanks, bud.
All right, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed that. You can head over to the show notes, therobbyrowshow.com/087 to check out all of the links included and all of the stuff that I'm producing and all that good stuff. All of that jazz can be found over in the show notes, therobbyrowshow.com/087. All right, guys. Much love. Appreciate you. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And until next time, I'm out. See ya.